Welcome to the WellPlayed DLC podcast, Australia's juiciest gaming podcast. I'm your host for this week, Zach Jackson. Joining me is Mr. LA, Mr. Hollywood, Adam Ryan.
Hello, I'm tired.
And Mr. I'm wearing a quilt that I stitched together to look like a jacket, Mr. Kieron Verbruge.
Hello. I feel like that's going to give people who are only listening to the audio version of this a very different picture of what I'm wearing.
Yeah, look, I really didn't.
Will, that was pretty accurate.
I didn't really think about what I was going to say until I just said it. I was like, I'm going to call out that Adam's in Los Angeles, but then I also have to call out that you're here, and I don't know. And Kieron.
There's nothing interesting about me.
How are we doing, Adam? How are you going? You're on the other side of the world, mate. How's the past?
Past is good. Thanks for taking care of it so well. It's good. No, I'm tired as hell. It's like 2 a.m. here currently, and I just ate half a massive slice of cheesecake directly before I'm going to record this and then go to bed. So I've made decisions, and then I'll have to live with them for the next few hours. So it is what it is. But no, I'm good. It's much better weather here than it is in Hobart currently. So I'm pretty keen that I can wear shorts out and about. That's pretty nice.
That's fair. It was fucking cold today, I can tell you that much. Kieran, you freezing you fucking enormous nuts off?
I am. Yeah, no, that's why I'm wearing a quilt as a jacket. Or multiple quilts as a jacket.
That's it. That's the spirit. How are you going? Anyway, how's your week been?
Oh, yeah, it's been all right. It's been busy. I literally just got home from Free Play Angles, which is like a game developer conference event thing. Watched a bunch of really cool panels. Did a panel.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was on the Frosty Games Fest, yeah?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
How'd it go?
Pretty good, I think. Yeah. It was cool, like speaking to like a bunch of developers or prospective developers about like what work goes into putting together a showcase and also like getting your game into a showcase. And then we got to watch a lot of really cool people talk about their indie dev experience and their projects and stuff. So it was cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I don't know if Josie went or not, but she asked me last night if I was going, and I said no. Most definitely not. Hell because you're talking, so I didn't want to steal your thunder. But if you went, nice. Hopefully she's got some good feedback for you and the team. Hopefully the reception won't be too frosty.
Yep. Yeah, all right. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you for getting that over with.
Let's get straight into it.
How are you?
Adam? What's that? How am I? I'm fucking tired. I don't know.
Come on.
I'm bloody tired, mate. I am. I went to bed, and by went to bed I mean I was phone off, lights out, in the fetal position by 9:30ish last night. Like that's like unheard of.
Jesus.
For me, like that is.
Yeah.
That's like pensioner hour for you.
I know. Like it's like eating dinner at 5:00 sort of stuff. Like, but other than that, yeah, I'm all right. I'm fine. It's just I think winter's dragging on. There's sort of not much going on game wise, but there's still a fucking huge ton of stuff in the backlog, and you just a bit can't be asked about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's me. Kieran, have you been playing anything the last week you want to chat about? Anything exciting?
No, I've just been. I've finished Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like that's pretty much the only thing I've been like dipping in and out of when I've had time.
How did you approach it, Kieran? Were you because there seems to be like two camps for, not just Bonanza, kind of collectathon games in general, but are you doing like completely clear one layer, make sure you get all the fossils, all the bananas before you move on, or are you just kind of like having at it and just not worrying too much about collecting everything?
I started by clearing everything as I was going. But then about like the midpoint of the game, which there's a good like chunk of layers or like worlds in that game that I wasn't a fan of. So I kind of ended up giving up on my quest to collectathon it. I will go back now that I've finished it and do everything, because there is like a lot of post game stuff anyway. But yeah, it was starting to drag in the middle, so I just kind of like mainline the rest of it, get it over with, because I do want to get back and finish Death Stranding before. I was going to say before August hits. It is at August now. And stuff like Mafia and a few others come out, and I get pulled away again inevitably. But yeah,
I feel you. How much do you know roughly how long you got left in Death Stranding?
it won't be long. I feel like I'm at the tail end. It definitely, like, story wise, seems like I'm at the tail end.
Sure.
Yeah, if you feel like you're at the tail end, then you would be. It definitely signposts it pretty well.
Yeah.
Nice. Adam, have you been given that Steam Deck a little bit of a razzing while you've been on the plane and
Yes.
in the States?
I played some Bonanza and started BioShock of all things. I've never played BioShock before, so I started that on my exceptionally long flight. Game feels old in kind of a good way. It's like a not being able to look down sights or anything like that. It's just shoot from the hip. You've got a power in one hand, you've got your gun in the other. I don't know, I'm digging it so far. It's kind of the older style first person shooter that I was kind of feeling like, so it's ticking that box. And before I left the country, I was playing a bunch of Claire Obscure. That game turns out pretty fucking good. Nathan is desperately in need of getting on it, and Mark, I can't remember if he gave it a 9.5 or a 10, but yeah, deserved from what I've played. That game is immaculate.
Hell yeah.
Nathan, from memory, didn't love the demo. Not the demo, sorry, the preview.
Yeah, I talked to him about it not that long ago, and he said that it wasn't as indicative of like the full experience now, because he's played some of it now and he's enjoying the full game. It's just one of those, like, I don't know, it's a game that's probably hard to preview because it does take a little bit of time to warm up to, because it's turn-based, but it has like the real-time dodging and parrying mechanics as well. So I think he just, probably needed more time with it to get the gist of that, I think.
Sure. Very good. Anything else
What have you been playing, Zach?
Me?
No, that's it for me.
Actually, like, to be honest, nothing. Like, I've not actually played a game in...
Cool.
That's actually a lie. I have played something, but I don't know if I can even talk about it because I don't even know like what the embargo is, so I'm not going to risk it. It's nothing. Nice. I can tell you.
That's kind of a fun wheel to spin, though. Maybe you do. Maybe you talk about it and just see what happens.
Like, yeah.
Please don't let me press you into doing that. Just don't.
No. You know, you might find that your hotel privileges and your flight home might be cancelled if I do.
Okay, gotcha.
Break the embargo. I can tell you it's nothing exciting. Like nothing you blokes
The Sims 5
exciting. Other than that, no, I haven't played anything. The only other thing I've played is Ready or Not, which we'll talk about very, very quickly, very, very briefly. Nothing. All right, so I'm going to change up the order a tiny bit for this little quick episode. I'm going to do a quick little news wrap now. I'm not we don't even have a doco. I'm just going news off the top. So just a couple of quick ones.
This is like jazz. This is a podcast that's
no fact checking.
Like jazz.
No, just
no.
You know what? I'm going to make the news up. So. Disappointingly, you know, Kieron, you were talking about August. I was pretty fucking pumped for August because yes, you're right, we're getting Mafia: The Old Country, which is August 8th or 6th or something like that.
8, yeah.
But also one of the probably the main games I'm keen for this year, Dying Light: The Beast. I don't know why I said it like that, but the game has been delayed until. This is where I should have fact checked. It's been delayed about a month until September, something or other. So yeah, I actually didn't realize that game is still coming out on old consoles, or the PS4 and the Xbox One.
I didn't either.
Yeah. Well, what I forgot, which also I guess it does make sense, but they promised, because you know how this is a spin-off from the DLC, right? This was going to be the DLC for Dying Light 2. So when you bought the season pass and stuff like that, you actually basically got this DLC.
Yeah, okay.
So in order to not fuck over those people, they said that if you bought the season pass, you'll get the copy of the game on those consoles. So, but it is going to be a bit later.
I wonder how much of that how much of that played into it. Like, is that like a legal obligation that they have? Like, it's a promised part of a purchase, so they kind of have to.
Well, I don't know how they would, unless because they can't really give a refund unless they just were like, fuck it. I don't know if that's even possible to give people refunds for a product that they have potentially.
Like partial.
Yeah, well, they just give you the full. They're like, you know what, you can keep the skins or whatever else was in that season pass. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you have to come and buy it. But I guess that's a bit of a dog move. It has been delayed to September 19, so that's that one. We also got a game that surprisingly looks good, based on the developer, and that's Kronos. Again, not even going to fact check. This name could be incorrect. Is it Kronos: The New Dawn?
He's nailed it in one.
Ah, fuck. Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. I watched the trailer this morning, but I didn't really pay that much attention. When I was typing it to someone the other night, I'm like, oh, can you give me like a hookup for Bloober Team? And I spelled it CHRONOS. And he's like, gee, I hope when you email them that you spell it like that. That is actually getting a release date. That is September 5th, I think we got today.
Yeah, coming to Switch as well.
Yeah, Switch 2, just to clarify.
Yes, true.
That game looks cool. That game looks sick. Like, hopefully it just, but this is their thing, right? Like, their games generally look pretty cool, and then they just turn out like arse. And not the arse that Kieron kind of likes.
Have been... Yeah, the previews, Jesus. The previews have been like ranging from okay to good from what I've seen. Apparently like the combat is fine. It's a little bit kind of a monster closet kind of situation where it's like move into an area and then, enemies keep coming and coming. But it has a cool feature where you need to burn the dead bodies of the enemies, because if an alive enemy comes into contact with it, it like merges together with the dead body and then becomes bigger and stronger. And yeah, I think it's a cool idea.
What game did that? There was another couple of games. That's not. Obviously maybe in that form. Was it RE? No, it wasn't RE. Was it RE? Yeah, it was. It was the remake of RE1. Yeah. The remake of RE1, where you had you had to burn, not the original, but the remake on Switch, on GameCube.
Oh,
you had to.
Oh, the red. What are they called? Redheads or some shit? The Crimson Heads.
No, you had you had the lighter, and the lighter only had X amount of uses. But another game that did it, I think, and this one I'm not. Again, this is no fact checking here, but a game that was actually really, really cool if you're like into horror games, called Song of Horror. Really cool fucking episodic game. And I believe you could kill them, but that one I'm not gonna stake my life on that one. Switch to the direct that we just got this morning. I haven't watched it. I don't know what was even shown off. Kieron, anything that get your quilt quivering?
Yeah, we're getting a new Katamari game, which I'm very, very excited about, in October. That's coming to all platforms, not just the Switch, but that's very cool. There was two, they kind of blue-balled people waiting for the Final Fantasy IX news, because they had a double feature of Square Enix announcements right at the end. There's a one more thing.
Neither of which were the game that they were wanting.
It's just a new Octopath Traveler game and a weird-looking HD 2D action RPG. But overall it was a fine direct. And a Monster Hunter Stories 3 announcement at the beginning, which I'm sure people are excited about.
I think you've massively buried the lead that there's a Plants vs. Zombies remaster.
Yeah. Megan was very, very excited about that. It comes out on the same day as Katamari as well, so like we're gonna be fighting over.
What a blessed day.
Yeah, right.
But surely you'll play that on the Switch.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, sorry, on the PlayStation. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Maybe on the new rig, mate. Get that girl
PlayStation.
purring.
Yeah.
I don't want Steam trophies or achievements, whatever they're called.
Sure.
Nah, they don't have the same satisfying ping as a trophy.
Yeah. I'm struggling to remember what else was there. Like Chronos was there, obviously. They showed a little bit more of Star Wars Outlaws running on the Switch too, and it looks like it technically runs. Just Dance, FIFA, or whatever it's called, FC. Yeah, it was fine. It was a 25-minute third-party showcase. Like it was, yeah.
Yeah. What do we think of the new? Sorry, I should say new of the August lineup for PlayStation Plus Essential games. Lies of P, DayZ, and
Hell yeah.
My Hero One's Justice 2.
Yeah, that's a dreadful name for that last one. The other two, though, like that's cool. Lies of P, I think, is a great pickup because Overture, the DLC, only came out pretty recently. So there's probably a lot of people who see that and are interested in picking up the the base game. So I think that works well. I'm one of them, so I mean it works well for me.
Yeah.
And DayZ, like I don't know, it's one of those evergreen games that kind of pops up again every once in a while here and there. So.
I didn't even know it was still going. I thought it was gone. What was the other one that's big like DayZ that is
PUBG?
Right.
Yeah.
Is that still going?
Yeah, I still get them confused. I think it is. I think it's like massive, like on mobile in like Southeast Asian countries, more than like.
Do you remember when Callisto Protocol was going to be set in the same world as PUBG for absolutely no fucking reason? What a weird time.
Yeah. Great game. I actually highly recommended that game to someone the other week.
Callisto?
Highly recommended.
What, do you not like them?
Great bloke.
That had wasn't it that game that had a similar mechanic to Chronos, where like not like enemies would eat each other, but like they'd evolve if you fucked up.
Yeah, if you left them long enough, then they'd evolve. That's what I thought Zach was getting at before. Yeah,
yeah, I just remember that.
But it was shit.
Great game.
Yeah.
Tickets. Sorry. No, you keep going. I thought.
Let's move on.
No. Please.
I was just gonna say, like, still on the PlayStation Plus conversation. I already own Lies of P, so like I'm not super excited about that being on there, but I really like that model of, hey, there's like a new expansion, DLC, whatever, and we want to sell that to as many people as we can. So let's get the people who don't own the game to buy the DLC by giving them the game through like PlayStation Plus or whatever. I think that's a really, really good way to add to that library.
Yeah.
I think that's a better model as well, because like it's still incentivizing a purchase of some point, like of some description.
Yeah, you're still able to support,
and it's a smaller purchase as well. Because like Overture was, I think it's like a $30 or $35 DLC. It's not like a nominal amount. It's not like a $5-10 tiny little expansion. It's beefy, but if you get the game for quote unquote nothing, then I don't know, you're probably way more likely to make that purchase. So yeah, I agree.
Correct.
Nice. I was just going to say the tickets for Acme's exhibition Game Worlds is they're available now. So if you wanted to get your hands on Hollow Knight Silksong, go grab some tickets. For those not aware, Acme is in Melbourne. So you may also need a flight to Melbourne if you don't live in Melbourne. Kieron, you going to check this out?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's quite a few. Like I'm not... like I take or leave Silksong, but like there's quite a few like other cool things there that I'm keen to check out. So
yeah, there's something on Final Fantasy. I think it's online, right? Final Fantasy Online.
It's Final Fantasy 14, but that's still interesting. I think like there's so much about that game that I don't know or understand. So if they've got it in a museum setting and they can explain to me why people are so weird about that game, I'll listen.
Nice. All right. Any other quick news that anyone's got? Nah. Push forward. Let's keep it moving. All right. again, we're going to flip it on its head. We're going to give the shout outs now. So Nathan has reviewed Ready or Not on the PS5. He also did review it on the PC. We've actually all played it with the great man. And I think we all had a pretty good time.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep.
If you're not, if you don't know what Ready or Not is, this is like a little SWAT team PVE game, which is one of those types of games. And he says, I'm just going to read the final thoughts because the summary is just like a sentence. So final thoughts: Ready or Not continues to thrill and shock me in equal measure. However, it is the subtleties that keep me hooked and coming back. The environmental storytelling, simulation, and the gut-wrenching impact of your split-second decisions work together on a level that other tactical shooters could never hope to match. He gives it an 8.
I think an 8's pretty fair. I actually had a really good time with it. I know that he very jokingly, when he's trying to get us as a squad together, treats it like oh, come on, I'll drag you back into it, like it's a laborious thing. But I am very keen when I get back to play it again. It has like a level of tension that a lot of other PvE games don't, but it doesn't also on the same token demand like a massively high skill ceiling or like skill level from the player, at least on like the normal difficulty. So it kind of finds that nice balance. I fuck with it.
No, I think it's really fun. Kieron, any thoughts to add on that, or just agree with everyone?
Yep, no, you're all very correct. I think when I jumped in and did the tutorial before we actually started, and it started like giving me all the stuff about like commanding my team and things from like the radial menus and shit, I was like, uh oh. But then as soon as you get into multiplayer and you're like, oh, it's just my mates, I just have to yell at them for them to do stuff, then it's all good.
Trying to tell Zach to not like execute people that they're hostages that have been tied up.
What are you gonna do? Alrighty, Jade S. She has reviewed Misk: A Tiny Tale. This is the Aussie-made little platformer. Now she has given this a 5, which is a glass half full though. And she writes, "Misk: A Tiny Tale is not a game I enjoyed." Alrighty. The narrative tone is awkwardly patronizing to play through as an adult, and while the level design has its occasional moments, the relatively bland gameplay does not make up for this. While the game mostly handles sensitive topics around mental health in a way that is appropriate for young children, some of the supplementary material is at odds with this otherwise child-friendly tone, and it's hard to recommend to any age group. Yeah, 5 out of 10. That's a bit disappointing because we have covered this game a bit heavily in the past, doing a made in Australia, and knowing the developer, I know that they that score would be disappointing. I do know that I can share with you that Jade and the developer have been in contact, in communication about some of the issues, and the developer is making some slight tweaks to things based on Jade's feedback. So that's
I mean, you've got to love that. That's cool.
Yeah. 5 out of 10 for that one. Excuse me. And the great man KS, the great doctor himself, he has reviewed Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. Now, we know that this is kind of his jam. He gives it a 7.5 though, and says this dark fantasy reimagining of the late Ming Dynasty doesn't succeed at every trick it copies in the crowded hardcore action RPG genre, but it's got enough tricks of its own to set it apart and represent another Chinese studio looking to go large, with Western audiences. 7.5. Anyone got any thoughts on this one? Anyone keen to check this out? Nah. Don't want to be part of the Wu Chang clan?
Nah, dreadful. The Souls-like genre is just a bit fucking packed these days, and I'm glad that they find little ways to tweak it, but just that kind of gameplay loop, I'm not too interested in right now.
All right. Well, speaking of things you are interested in now, let's get straight down to the action, baby. Adam, you're in LA, not to have a great time and do whatever you do in LA. I actually don't know, but you're there to check out Battlefield 6.
Absolutely, yes. EA has sent me over to attend the Battlefield 6 multiplayer reveal event, which took place today. The public facing like live stream and all of the streamers getting a hold of the game happened today, so everyone will have seen that kind of gameplay trailers of the multiplayer, and they kind of outlined what the whole package is going to look like before, they kicked it over to, I think it was like 400 different streamers from across the world, not just at the event, who were streaming the game. So it was a massive, massive event. But for media, essentially, that meant 2 full days for us. So I think I've played somewhere between 8 and 10 hours of the Battlefield 6 multiplayer. So there was no single player and no Battlefield experience that Ripple Effect are working on that they teased today, which is definitely going to be a battle royale. Not that anyone would tell me that, even though I tried to pry the information out of a few different devs, but got nowhere from that. But yeah, so essentially I got to go hands-on with a whole bunch of the modes on a whole bunch of the maps, and kind of get a feel for what the full multiplayer experience is going to be. At the start of the day, they essentially gave us the whole briefing that you would have seen today, and a bit of a Q&A. And during the Q&A time, one of the DICE producers, Jeremy Chubb, mentioned that Battlefield 6 to them is a continuation of Battlefields 3 and 4. And Battlefield 3 is absolutely my shit. Like, that was the one that hooked me on the series. I started with Bad Company 2, but Battlefield 3 is where I kind of fell in love with the series. Modern setting, very grounded, the massive maps that have all of the vehicular combat and all the destruction, but then also tighter, more enclosed maps that you have to really use your class abilities and work as a squad together to kind of push the objective and whatnot. So that's where I landed, and hearing that, I was exceptionally excited. But obviously, the developers are going to say what they can to sell the game. But I jumped on the PC setup they had there, played 2 or 3 rounds, and could immediately tell that absolutely was the truth. 6 feels like, because obviously 2042 was contentious. I didn't hate it, but it stripped out a lot of things that like long-term players loved. So like the class system, they replaced it with specialists that were kind of more like, made it a little bit more like a hero shooter. So, and like the movement was kind of floaty and things just didn't feel like Battlefield. This definitely feels like a return to form. And even my written preview is the subheading of it is Restore the Feeling, because it definitely feels like that they've recaptured what the core essence of Battlefield is. They've listened to obviously a lot of feedback from the community, and they've implemented that in some pretty meaningful ways. And I think this is going to be an absolute banger. I had a really, really good time.
My first question for you, good sir, is so 2042. When did that come out? 2019? No, 2020. No.
It was 19 or 20. It was a while ago now. It was at least for like 5, maybe 6 years ago. This has been in development for a while.
Yeah, and one of the things I loved about 2042, and correct me if I'm wrong, that this may have been in other games, but from memory, I don't believe it was. It was a little bit of a feature from 2042, but the weather, the kind of dynamic weather that was in that.
Yes. Yep.
In that game, are we going to see that as well this time around, or?
No, I don't think we will. From the maps that we played, there weren't as many hints on, because the trailer shows kind of the Levolution style shit from Battlefield 4, where there are these big moments. Like in the main one from Battlefield 4 was there was a skyscraper in one of the maps that completely toppled over, and it kind of changed the landscape of that map. There's hints of that in the trailers. I didn't see any of that during my hands-on gameplay, but there's for one example, there's a map with a dam that the dam bursts and floods the area. So I think there might be a bit of that, but I don't think the dynamic weather is making a return. A lot of what both the devs said and what I experienced is they're stripping out a lot of kind of the useless bullshit that's just kind of flashy and there as a headline or there as like a back of the box feature, and they're getting back further to like the grounded gameplay experience that's just mainly class based and like focused on teamwork. I think that's what they're pushing for, and I think that's what their audience wants as well. But yeah, so we played through, I think we had 4 or maybe 5 modes. So we had the main 3, which is Conquest, Breakthrough, and Rush. So Conquest is like the quintessential Battlefield experience. It's the different capture points across a massive open map that has a lot of vehicles, and, you know, lots of shit to blow up. And there's tickets, and whoever runs out of tickets loses. Breakthrough, which is... one team is defending, one team's attacking, and it slowly pushes back, but the defenders can, you know, push the line back as well. And Rush, which is just your typical, like, you move to a point, take that point, move on to the next, and there's an attacker and defender. All 3 of those are very, very, very well-trodden ground. They're Battlefield staples, but they all feel very well-refined here. And the other 3 that we played were kind of more typical, like, first-person shooter online modes. So there's Team Deathmatch, Squad Deathmatch, and Domination. So Team Deathmatch is TDM. We all know what that is. Squad Deathmatch is, again, kind of does what it says on the box. There's 4 4-player squads, and it's kind of a free-for-all. And then Domination is kind of more your typical COD-style mode, which is there are 3... different capture points on a very small map, and it's just, if you have the majority, you'll start bleeding the tickets of the other team. Typically, in the past, I've not been a massive fan of the smaller modes. I'm kind of more interested in, you know, what makes Battlefield, which is the big open maps and modes. I found myself gravitating a lot towards Domination here, and I think that's mainly because the gunplay is like insanely tight. All of the weapons feel weighty, and they're challenging at first to kind of get a hold of, but once you do, they're really satisfying. And the devs put that down to, I mean, it's a buzzword, a buzz term. They called it the kinesthetic combat system. So it's like a suite of different gameplay systems that it tries to onboard players by teaching them how to play the game just by them playing it rather than like tutorializing everything. So one of the examples they gave was with weapon recoil. As people are trying to come to grips with it, like vertical recoil, as they're pulling down on the gun, the next time they fire it, they'll experience like slightly less recoil the next time as like a reward for learning, I guess. So it's like a gentle nudge in the right direction rather than just trying to brute force them into it, which I think is a clever way to onboard people, particularly for such a game that has a steep learning curve out of the box, because people who've been playing Battlefield for years obviously can jump into whatever new game, but if you're trying to jump into the series, it can be pretty daunting. Like, you drop into a match and there are tanks and jets and shit everywhere. It can be a bit much. But other parts of that system are you can mount your gun to walls, like you can come around a door frame and mount it to the door frame, just through contextual, like it's just a little icon that pops up. You don't have to press any other buttons. You just aim down sights and it just kind of locks to it. And you can also drag downed teammates while you're reviving them, which I can't stress enough how much it makes you feel like a fucking action hero. Like, you see your teammate is downed in this corridor that's just lit up with bullets, and you grab them and you're dragging them back to cover as you're reviving them. It is just, yeah, like an unbelievably satisfying little addition. But just in general, though, the classes, I mean, they're back, and I think a lot of people will be happy that the classes have returned, because I know that it was a pretty contentious thing for them to remove them in the first place. But they do feel more defined here. So you've got your assault, recon, support, and engineer. They all effectively work pretty similar to how they have in the past. So engineer is there to destroy enemy vehicles and repair friendlies. Support is heals. Assault is damage dealer, and then recon is like scoping out an area and is kind of like the sniper class. And but they don't have closed weapons. So in the past, where the medic could only use LMGs, it's open classes, so every class can use every type of weapon. There's proficiencies for different weapons, so there's perks for picking an LMG if you're a medic, but you're not hamstrung into doing that, so it gives it a bit more player freedom. And it incentivizes people to actually have a good mix of those classes within their squad. Because everyone, like, if you're playing with, like, my group of friends, right? We are far from, like, online shooter pros. We're, reasonably shit at online games, so we all just kind of want to have assault rifles, right? We don't have enough skill to, snipe or whatever, so everyone would tend to go towards either the engineer or the assault because that's the class that had those available. Now you'll be able to branch out a little bit more because you can have any weapon with any class. So it lifts that restriction a little bit and incentivizes a bit more team play. Zachary Jackson.
I've got a couple of questions for you. So just give me the quickest answer, because it's you need to refresh my memory a bit, but what is the biggest differences, or what is the difference between the specialists and the classes?
So specialists had abilities rather than gadgets, because the main thing that classes have are different gadgets. So you'll have engineer has a rocket launcher and a repair tool. Defibs are for the support class and so on and so forth. The specialists, there were 15 of them, I think, and they all just had flashy shit that you could use. So it was one had a jammer, another one had a wingsuit, another one had a grappling hook. So there was no incentive for team play. It was very singular, and it was just here's some fun shit, but it's not very functional. Which again, I didn't hate. All of it worked, but there was no synergy really to any of it, particularly in a squad sense. So that's kind of the main difference, is that there was no incentive for team play, if that makes sense.
Okay. And the second question, now, what I'm getting is that Battlefield players don't like change. And 2042 changed it up, and they tried something new, and everyone cracked the sads. So they've just basically... Battlefield 6 isn't necessarily new. It's just kind of going back to what it was-ish. Is that a right-ish statement?
You're not wrong, I guess, is probably how I would phrase it. But I asked... I had an interview with two of the developers, David Serland and Alexia Christoph, both producers at DICE. And one of my questions was exactly that. It was... 2042 took some pretty wild swings and it didn't hit, but you obviously need to innovate. So how do you kind of reconcile the two things? It does definitely feel like a core Battlefield experience, like 3 or 4, but the smaller changes that they've made, with mounting the gun and drag to revive, and they've kind of expanded how you use vehicles. You can fit more people in. You can have people that just kind of jump on the back of a tank and ride it like you're sketching, like you're in a Tony Hawk game, which is pretty rad. Doesn't work well at all when you're playing against fucking streamers and FPS pros, because they just snipe you off the back of it, which I learnt pretty quickly. But it's the smaller refinements to the gameplay that are probably more impactful. I think people come to Battlefield for the Battlefield experience, so that's why they don't like it to be changed too much, but the changes that they have made are impactful. And the main thing that they kind of lent on was Battlefield Labs, which is their test environment. So you have to sign 1 million NDAs to make sure you don't leak anything, even though shit leaks anyway. And it's like this small, dedicated community that have been playing this game for months upon months upon months, and they push out changes. They get real-time feedback, and then the devs go back and tweak things and push, those changes back out again, and they refine and refine and refine. So they've definitely made changes, and they've put new additions into the game. Like the class systems definitely feel a lot different, but they fundamentally aren't as different as like the specialist, for instance. So it's what is old is new again, but they're also adding in some fresh coats of paint as well, if that makes sense.
I've played a handful of Battlefield games before, and I quite, I'm a very casual Battlefield player, so but I do recall 2042 had some pretty epically sized maps. I don't know if this was if that's common. I don't recall Battlefield 4 or 1 enough. What are the maps like here? Like, are we looking at the same sort of massive layouts, or what's
you won't
what's
get you won't get the scale of 2042 because the player cap was a lot higher. So we're going back to 64 players.
It's like 128, wasn't it?
128, yeah. So it was kind of we were going through that period of time of more is better. It turns out more isn't better. More is just more. The 64 players, I think, really was the sweet spot. I remember when Battlefield went from 32 players to 64, I remember thinking that was a shitload of people and was going to be too many. But it turned out to be kind of the sweet spot. And when they pushed the envelope a little bit further, that was too much. 128 was far, far too many people. So they're scaled for 64 players, definitely. They still feel massive. Like, there's a map set in Cairo that you can get in a tank and go over sand dunes, and it is more open. And that's what it's designed for. It's designed for vehicle combat. But they're not to the scale that you would have seen in 2042, which is good as well, because in 2042, even though there were so many players, there were only a few different hotspots throughout the map, and the rest of it was pretty barren, and you just kind of find yourself, if you didn't have a vehicle, just kind of sprinting forever, and then you'd get hit by a sniper and you'd be dead, and it's kind of a shit time. But they're utilizing, I think they called it combat zones, so it's effectively like they can scale the map down depending on what game mode you're playing, but with keeping the core, like, key areas in it. So we played a mode in Conquest on this mountainous map that is huge, like big enough where jets and helicopters and all of that are screaming overhead. But then when we played it in Domination, which is a much smaller game mode, it kind of takes the best of all of the map and just confines it into a smaller space. So you still feel like you're in that map. It's not a completely different experience, but it's just better suited for the game type. So yeah, I think they've dealt with that really well. I think all of the modes I played were really fun. I think squad deathmatch is a bit messy. I think it just there's a bit too much going on. If it's just two teams, that's fine. If it was all on all, I think it would also be hectic but fine. 4 different teams fighting each other just felt a little bit too unorganized or disorganized, but outside of that, I had an absolute blast with the other game modes. It was fantastic.
The reason why I want to I wanted to ask about the map size is because even though we had 128 players, I still felt like there were peaks and troughs with players, right? Like I would feel that one area of the map it's like there's like 200 players in this map, even half them on my team, but I can't fucking see anyone. Like, is everyone else just fucking vanished?
Yeah.
So even though are we going to have moments like that? Like, like I feel like I'm missing out on like all the action, and then you go to the action and the action's moved again to another.
No, so I think that plays. I mean, scaling it down definitely helps with that, but the combat zone thing works pretty well as advertised. There are definitely more interesting points of interest and different places where players tend to gravitate towards. And I think, again, that's a testament to the amount of playtesting that they've done with Battlefield Labs. I spoke to a few people today that have been a part of that program. And it's just, apparently it's just been non-stop kind of, they'll push out an update and be like, all right, everyone jump in and play it, give us feedback. In a couple of days, we'll be pushing out another update to, tweak things again. But no, I didn't experience that anywhere near as much today and yesterday as I did with 2042. Because like I was saying, you would just like, there's shitloads of people in this map, but they're all in one building. So you're just
Yeah.
like, you're running around aimlessly for fucking 15 minutes, and then you'll just get shot and die, and it sucks. There really is no downtime
Guilty.
that I've experienced in 6.
Yeah. All right. We might have covered this. You've talked a lot, and I feel like I haven't heard this, so forgive
Sorry.
me. I do. No, that's right. I do like to ask questions that have already for about things that have already been discussed. It's my toxic trait. What's the premise of this game? Because obviously 2042 was futuristic esque. Are we, are we kind of going back to current day? Are we going back further? What's the vibe here?
So it's modern day. It's very close to modern day. So it's set in 2027. The idea is that there was an assassination of a key global figure. They haven't said exactly who, but the president of the United States does give
Were they orange?
like a little. Yeah, he's looking pretty orange. He does give a little speech at the start of the trailer, so I don't think his days. I think his days are maybe numbered, so we'll see. But yeah, that kicks off kind of shit hitting the fan, and essentially a bunch of NATO countries leave NATO and form like a separate like splinter organization, and they hire a paramilitary group called Pax Armada, and there's just like the whole tensions rise, blah 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 blah. They're fighting across the globe. So, and it does span the globe as well. Like there's a mode in map in Egypt, and then on the other side of the world, there's a map in New York, in Brooklyn. So it's kind of all over the shop. But they did give a slight tease this morning during the reveal of the campaign. Obviously, this is a multiplayer reveal, so they didn't say much. But yeah, it sounds kind of like your typical Battlefield affair of, shady paramilitary organizations trying to take over the world kind of thing. So it'll be good to see a campaign back in the game, that's for sure.
Now, like you said, you got to chat to the devs, and we spoke before you went and sat on that couch. Did you get to ask them about how it is making a warfare game in the current global, climate with what's the conflicts that are going on?
I didn't in my interview, but it was definitely a sentiment that they kind of tiptoed around during the Q&A session and just during the day speaking with press. And they said that while it was difficult and they had to be very, I suppose, careful with how they go about it. It's a sensitive topic, right? So you have to be as careful as you can. There are definitely themes within the game that are reflective of current events. So that's all that they were willing to say. And, in the current climate, I don't blame them for being that vague, to be honest. But yeah, I think you could probably connect the dots there and figure out what kind of vibe they're going for. But yeah, it was definitely, I got the feeling that it was front of mind while they were kind of workshopping the premise.
It'd be tough, right? Because obviously the conflicts that are going on,
Absolutely.
They're quite prominent. There's lots of voices, on either side, and that's for the multiple that are going on. And in effect, you've got a studio that's commercializing warfare for entertainment. I know that's a very unfair brush to kind of paint it with, but that's they're in the business of making money. So yeah, so it'd be hard. Be hard. Kieron, you got any questions?
It would be very difficult
on Battlefield, or are you just happy to be here, mate?
Oh, yeah, just stoked to be here. I've been actively listening and thinking of questions, and then Adam's been immediately answering them. So I think that
He's good at
speaks
that.
to his skill as a podcaster, presenter, previewer, whatever you want to say.
Journalist.
A journalist. Yeah, that's the one. It sounds like I don't have a lot of experience with Battlefield, obviously. Honestly, my main, because it sounds like something that I want to check out after everything you've said. My experience with jumping into like multiplayer focused first person shooters in like the last few years has been that just every game like COD, whatever else is out there, like Fortnite. You just like the general like big ones all feel like they're getting so twitchy. Like COD, like the time to kill and the movement stuff in the new Black Ops is just like, I'm like 5 seconds and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You say that like this one's going back to the roots a little bit. Where does that sit on that scale of like twitchiness and like sweatiness in terms of?
I think it's kind of fascinating because the time to kill, I don't think changes between modes technically, but you definitely feel it differently. So in the smaller modes, so like in Domination, you are getting fucking wiped in seconds, but the respawn time is equally very fast and you kill people very quickly. But that is also down to the fact that you're running into a person every like 3 or 4 seconds. Like there's I think 24 players, maybe, I don't know, I'm spitballing that, maybe 16 on these smaller maps, and you're just running into people constantly. In the bigger modes like Breakthrough, Rush, Conquest, it's far less in like that twitchy side of things. The time to kill is a little bit more, it just feels a little bit more forgiving. Like you're able to absorb a few more shots before you go down. And typically because there's so much shit going on and there are so many players about, it gives your teammates a little bit of leeway to be able to revive you. And because it like the Dragon Revive system genuinely does kind of shake that up in a meaningful way, because typically if you see your teammate in the middle of a shitstorm, you're just like, oh, sorry mate, you know that it sucks that you died, but you're just gonna have to respawn, and that's a ticket gone, and that's a little, you know, you're one step closer to losing the match. Having the drag to revive gives you that little bit of confidence that you're like, nah, I think I can do it, I think I can pull it off, and often you do. So it's pretty far away from it's light years away from like the most recent Call of Duty multiplayers, light speeds away from Warzone. And one other thing, just on that topic, because you've reminded me, I asked Alexia, because that's kind of her jam within the Battlefield studios is progression, and typically the online multiplayer shooter genre at the moment is a kind of a homogenized mess. Like Kieran, you were saying, it's Fortnite, it's Warzone, and they're feeling more and more similar every day. A, because they're twitchy and fucking sweaty and awful, but B, because they're having all of these crossovers and skins and bullshit that just gets pushed into them, regardless of whether it actually fits the theme, particularly Warzone. Like Beavis and Butthead running around getting fucking teabagged by Seth Rogen and, you know, Finn from Adventure Time. Like, it's meant to be this grounded military shooter, and all of that shit's going on, and there's, you know, 420 weed shit going on everywhere. It's a mess. And I asked them about that, and they don't have any desire to put anything that kind of is antithetical to their theme into the game. They still want to do cosmetics and all of that shit. You know, it's an online service. That's what it is. But they're more focused on the progression being, like weapon unlocks and class unlocks, but just the satisfaction of getting better at the game. So they have like accolades and streaks and all of that shit as well that they went into. But it's true, like playing through the game, it gives you little updates on your stats as you're playing it. And at the end of the round, it's like, okay, in this game, you got your longest headshot with an LMG, or you got your most consistent amounts of kills per life, or something like that. And it gives you these real-time stats to show you that you are getting better. So it's progression in kind of the purest form. It's not how much you're progressing through the game, it's how your skill is progressing at the game, which I think is pretty interesting as well.
I like that.
Nice. All right, we might wrap it up in a second, but one last question for you. I know I read somewhere, I've just Googled it just to make sure that I'm not fucking making this up, but I don't know who said it, but I'm just going off some headlines. But Battlefield 6 EA expects to have up to like 100 million players. Now, I'm not asking if you think that. What I'm asking is, do you think fans will jump back on this? Because obviously fans kind of jumped off of 2042. Is this a game that you can see from a fan point of view, not just your point of view, but can you see this being a real successful Battlefield?
Yeah, I do. Their whole ethos going into it, it's very, very clear. From the marketing, from all the marketing speak that has been around it, from the trailers, all of that they're wanting to get back to the Battlefield 3s and 4s and that kind of feeling, and that's when the series was at its height. And that's what people have been asking for years, not just from 2042, but Battlefield 1 obviously was set in the World Wars. That, again, it has its time, Battlefield 5 as well. But people just wanted this setting with, the classic classes, and that's what they're being given. And also I think it's hitting at they're kind of needing to hit while the iron's hot, while Call of Duty's in a bit of a slump, Fortnite's Fortnite, Apex is Apex. There's a missing, or there's a gap in the market that I think that they could fill. I think 100 million is fucking outrageous. I think that's a typical EA bullshit metric that a boardroom member probably thinks is acceptable, but it's just not. But I do think it has room to be exceptionally successful, though.
Nice. Very good. Well, you can check out Adam's preview on the website now, and there's an interview coming that'll probably be out. Might not be out by then when this is out.
Yeah, that'll be
quick,
live.
But I'll race you. So yeah, that will be out as well then. Cool. All right, let's quickly go around the table off topics, and then we'll wrap it up home. No 2000s film of the week this week because Adam wants to go to bed. So Adam, what'd you watch on the plane?
I watched Furiosa, among other things. I have such a fucking bone to pick with whoever the casting director for this film was, whether it's old mate himself or whoever was in charge of casting. Anya Taylor-Joy I don't enjoy in the best of times, right? She doesn't even make a fucking attempt at any kind of Australian accent. She's just herself. While everyone around her has a legitimate or very well put on Australian accent, she just stands out like a sore thumb, and I fucking hated her for it. There you go.
So you didn't like the film?
I just needed to get that out. I didn't hate the film. Like, it's too reliant on CGI, and I think Chris Hemsworth's character is inconsistent and weird, but I didn't hate it, but I really hated her. And that's unfortunate, because she's the main character.
Yeah.
I needed to get that out. I needed to tell someone, and no one that's here currently gives a fuck about it, so I needed you boys to just hear me out there.
I mean, if I'm gonna be real honest, I also don't give a fuck about it. But thanks for telling me. No, I'm kidding. I actually still haven't seen it, so yeah. Kieron,
see if you can spot when the accent drops, because it like shows her as a kid and then her as an adult. So just be real keen and pay attention and see if you can tell where the accent drops.
If I ever watch it, I'll keep an eye on it, or keep an ear on it.
Thanks,
Have you watched anything else, or is that about it?
Nothing that stands out. I watched Shaun of the Dead for the 6 millionth time while I was on the plane, because that kills like an hour and a half. So I don't know.
Sure. All right. Fair enough. Kieron, you watched anything? Yeah, I know that you're a big movie guy.
Not watched. Yeah, I don't watch movies. I can't remember what I spoke about last time, but I don't think that I've watched anything new between last time we were on here and now, unfortunately.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I'll give you some quick fire ones. Finish Shrinking, fantastic. If you've got Apple TV, definitely watch it. I also went through...
I didn't know it was a process. I thought you were always that small.
Hey.
That does have Harrison Ford. He is fantastic. I'm not sure if that's a bit because I've said that like last time, but he's great in that show.
I don't listen. What the fuck?
Sure. I also went through Department Q on Netflix, which is fucking awesome. If you are into like crime dramas, this is like a Scottish crime TV show. It's really fucking good. Don't fucking point at me. I would highly recommend watching this. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. Also watched I don't know how you'd say it properly, but it's like the R murders, ARE, which is obviously some sort of Scandinavian. I don't know how you'd actually say it, but the RE murders or whatever. That was on Netflix. Again, pretty good. And I've just started watching another show that I can't remember. So I watched it last night, but I forgot I forgot the name of it. But the other three, I'm going to go watch Happy Gilmore 2 now. So wrap it up.
Sounds good, mate. Tap
All right.
it in.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the WellPlayed DLC podcast. You can check out Adam's Battlefield content on www.well-play.com.au. You can also find us on the socials. I can't remember what they are, but YouTube WellPlayed_AU. Blue Sky.
There should be some Battlefield content on YouTube at some point as well, so make sure you do check that out.
There's a neat little short there, which you can see Adam with his what's the word when you
did you upload
his audition for his future roles? Blue Sky at WellPlayed, then the Facebook and the X. They're a variant of WellPlayed AU or WellPlayed_AU. Other than that, enjoy your flight back. Well, enjoy your few extra days over there, and can't wait to get the merch, mate. When I'm back, or when you're back. Sorry, I'm not going anywhere.
Damn right. See you soon, boys.
Very good, very good. And Kieron, keep rocking. You know what you look like? You look like the intro to like Play School or something like that. Like you feel like you're wearing the intro to Play School.
I look like the intro, like the concept of the intro to Play School.
Yeah. Or Mr. Squiggle or something like that.
Fuck off and go to bed.
Catch up.
Bye.
Bye, Adam.